One whale broke through and went on through the kelp forest.
Okay, I need somebody to rear aid. They're going through. Here we go. Hold.
And then the other whales followed. There wasn't rapids at all. It wasn't dangerous. It was exactly perfect timing. David had figured out exactly when they needed to go through.
No sooner than they got out, they stopped. We saw seagulls surrounding them, which meant to us that they were feeding.
They had been basically starving to death in the lake.
Eventually they broke out into the ocean, and I've never seen them move so fast. These guys took off, porpoised, swam very fast, swam deep.
They're wasting time getting out of here.
A movie script couldn't have done it any better. It just felt so rewarding, and it seemed so right.
You're happy whales, we're happy people. What more can we ask?
A beer.
Hey, soda. All right.
On that day, the volunteer rescuers succeeded in herding 7 of the 8 whales out to sea.
What we saw in all of this was 2 competing marine parks, corporate America, volunteers, commercial fishermen, all coming together in a real citizen effort to make it happen.
Look, I saw a big smile on the one. Oh, I see.
It just went as perfectly as if these people had been driving whales all of their lives.
We're going to go bid the whales farewell, get a close-up of them, and then head back.
In terms of a life's experience on a scale of 1 to 10, this is definitely a 10.
By the next day, the missing whale was found dead.
When that juvenile male died, it just brought to light what a dire circumstance these whales were in. If we hadn't gotten those whales out within the next few days, more would have died.
Humans have done a lot of nasty things to the natural world, and it's nice when you get a chance to try to make up for it. You know, I guess you can't save the whole world, but I feel like we've saved a little piece of it at least.
Next.
Here, Daddy.
So I tell him not to panic when bees come, just to be still.
Morning out here.
You know what you need every morning to keep your teeth clean and tartar-free? A dental cleaning. So Colgate's done the next best thing. Our tartar-controlled toothpaste contains special micro-cleansing crystals, which clean between teeth and along the gum line. Colgate helps prevent tartar buildup and leaves teeth the cleanest they can feel. Without a dental cleaning every day. So between dental visits, make an appointment with Colgate Tartar Control.
I know what you're feeling.
Only the world's most advanced long-distance network, AT&T, can bring you this patented breakthrough in digital voice reproduction. And today, AT&T True Voice is nationwide.
Just let me hear loud and clear.
Anywhere you live, anyone you call, you get the best long-distance sound ever, just because you're with AT&T. Call for a demonstration.
That's an old country. That's really old. Man, is that old.
Only a country this young could create a car this cool. The Chevy Camaro. 2 airbags, fuel injection, and a double wishbone suspension. Hey, you're only young once. The new Camaro. It's genuine Chevrolet.
A falling price. What would it sound like?
A crash. the prices do fall. They fall.
First it's like 12 cents, then it goes to 10, then it goes to 9.
It was $25.96, now only $22.96. It was $59.76, it's now $54.97. It was $28.96, it's now $24.96. We like our customers and we want to give them a good deal. Watch your fine prices.
Wednesday, sparks are going to fly with Sheryl Crow, Boys to Men, Tony Bennett, Bonnie Raitt, Bruce Springsteen, Mary Chapin Carpenter, K.D. Lang, and more. Join host Paul Reiser for the 37th Annual Grammy Awards, Wednesday on CBS.
A drunk driving arrest can cost thousands of dollars in attorney's fees, fines, and increased auto insurance. Choosing a designated driver costs nothing.
62-year-old Norman Slosser had been spending the 1994 4th of July weekend with 4 of his adult children and their families at a cabin in the Great Smoky Mountains in North Carolina. Like the others, Norman's son Steve was enjoying the last night of their stay, never really expecting anything could go wrong.
I've been playing the banjo and listening to the bugs sing with my son James, who is blind. James, he heard a bee fly up.
I'm scared, Daddy.
And he said, "Daddy, there's a bee out here."
Where? Don't worry.
So I tell him not to panic when bees come, just to be still and quiet so he can hear them and know where they're at.
Hey, y'all.
When I opened up the door, he flew right in.
Rita was the youngest of Norman's 6 children.
I told everyone to relax, and we were going to try and get the bee out.
Okay, girls.
My dad was sitting next to a lamp, and the hornet evidently was attracted by the light. It stung him on the back of the neck.
Norman's oldest daughter, Kathy, rushed in to help.
The sound of his screaming was just like someone was attacking him violently.
I got the bee.
My father's been stung before by different types of bees and has never had a reaction. We had no first aid kit, so we applied an old-fashioned southern remedy, wet tobacco on his sting.
It's going to make you feel better. Tobacco on you, okay? I'll be right back.
I figured he'd be all right, you know, within a half an hour or so after the hurt went away.
Couldn't find it anywhere. Did I start to feel sick?
After about 5 minutes, he said he was feeling nauseous.
I feel a lot better now.
He hit the floor so hard that I knew when I saw him go down, this was a serious situation. There was no phone in the cabin. The only phone was at the lodge.
I'm going to get an ambulance.
Well, he was gasping for air and he couldn't breathe. His throat was closing up. Within a matter of seconds, he was suffocating. I knew I had to do something.
The thought of losing my dad was too much for me. My wonderful father, my funny, crazy father, we weren't ready for him to not be with us.
Hey, Daddy, you all right?
I felt totally helpless, totally in shock. And I saw his body kind of go rigid and very unnatural looking.
I've never been trained in CPR, but I pried his mouth open and started blowing into his lungs the best I could.
Daddy, can you hear me?
Please help. Help.
When Kathy reached the lodge, the desk clerk called 911 and asked cook Rhonda Bachman, who happened to be an EMT, if she could help.
You might want to check it out.
I just heard that someone had fainted. I just thought, well, I'll just go and monitor it until the ambulance gets there.
Come on, Dad.
I could see my dad's face, and he was changing colors rapidly. He turned about 3 different shades of gray. I started crying because I thought he was dying.
Help is on the way. The ambulance is coming, Louise.
At one point, I knew that we had lost Dad.
Daddy, please wake up.
I never have seen my brother fight like that.
Hurry, hurry, please, he's inside.
All the family was freaking out because everybody was like, hurry, hurry, run. And I couldn't figure out why they were, over-exaggerating and feigning so much until I actually saw him laying on the floor.
More than 10 minutes had passed since Norman was stung.
When I saw him, I thought he was dead.
Okay, you're not getting here.
I didn't know who she was. I just knew that she was there to help, and she was like an angel from heaven.
I had noticed that his chest wasn't rising when his son was giving him ventilation, so I went ahead and repositioned his neck. I felt his neck for a pulse, and I couldn't feel anything. So I started giving him CPR.
It took every breath I had. It literally exhausted me.
He's breathing.
It was after one of my compressions that we heard him gasp for air.
15 minutes after Norman collapsed, a Swain County medic unit arrived on the scene, including EMT Lewis Crisp.
Because of allergic reaction of the sting, we administered the epinephrine to the patient. He responded within seconds. But just because we had administered the drug, we still had a life-threatening situation.
That was a terrible feeling, seeing my dad being loaded into an ambulance and not knowing if he was going to make it.
Norman Slosser was taken to Swain County Hospital, where he was put under the care of emergency physician Marcus Williams.
Mr. Slosser came into our emergency room with a blood pressure of 80 over nothing. He received adrenaline at the scene. However, this is a stopgap effort. Unless we give the additional antihistamines and steroids, the reaction can come back.
I had no idea what shape he was in. And all I could do was just hope that he was going to be fine and come home with us where he belongs. And he did. So I'm very thankful.
Norman Slosser has completely recovered from the incident that nearly took his life a month and a half earlier.
Unless you go through a death experience like this, it's hard to express how much you think of those people and what they've done for me. Without the help of my family and Rhonda and the EMTs, I would not be here today.
You walk around, too.
Oh, really?
The fact that I was able to keep him going until the paramedics got there, that was a major rush for me.
I appreciate it.
Rhonda, I was really glad to really let her know from my heart how important she was to me and everybody else.
Today, my dad carries a prescription B kit with him when he's outdoors, and he can't be without that.
When I think about what happened that night, it really stirs up my emotion because I was scared that he was gone. And I was just terribly frightened of all the things that I'd never told him, that I had wanted to tell him, like that I love him. But to have the second chance with my father is kind of like having a whole new friendship with him.
Next. Mandy's very intelligent and she knows how to use things, but if anything is handled improperly, it's dangerous.
I just had one of the best dinners I've ever had, and it was under $10.
Now, at Red Lobster, every day we have 15 dinners under $10. Enjoy the seafood you love, like tender shrimp, juicy grilled fish, even sweet snow crab. And each meal includes hot bread and fresh tossed salad.
With 15 dinners under $10, you can bet I'll be back.
Tonight, try a half pound of snow crab with a large portion of scampi in our $9.99 crab and shrimp dinner, only at Red Lobster.
Taste the colors, wishbone bright, colorful taste in every bite. Take a peek, take a boy, looking at what we're looking
Dove antibacterial is like nothing else. It gets germs off hands.